You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, Historical Athlete of the Week this week. Justin is the first time I have ever done one of my former teammates on this segment. This is a kid who I played basketball and baseball with in high school, and one of the best basketball players I've played with, that's for sure, but also proven out, he turned out to be one of Hoquiam's best basketball players of all time, as he is second on the all-time scoring list, and it is Joey Wayman.
The team of realtors at Ole Penn Real Estate wish you and your family good health during this stay home, stay safe time. Their team has health and safety measures in place to protect you and everyone involved in the process. If you're thinking about selling your home, now is a great time. There are more buyers than available homes. Many homes are still receiving multiple offers and are selling for above asking price. Ole Penn Real Estate will help you put the most money possible in your pocket in less time without the hassle. Visit sellmyharborhome.com to get your home market ready. The Ole Penn team is ready to work for you.
Joey was, as I mentioned, the second all-time scorer. He had 1,423 points in 90 games, good enough for a 15.8 average. And that's some pretty impressive average, seeing that two things here. He started as a freshman, and after his freshman year, so his sophomore, junior, and senior year, were 3 of the 4 years that Hoquiam played in the league with Tumwater, River Ridge, Black Hills, Centralia, Chehalis, Aberdeen, and Elma, and Hoquiam. That was that league. So, bigger league. Definitely an adjustment from the previous 10, 12 years, maybe 10 years of when Hoquiam, especially the basketball team, just kind of dominated the league of Forks, Monty, Elma, Tenino, Rochester. I mean, it was, for a while there, Hoquiam just kind of dominated the league pretty easily. I mean, Forks came up a couple times, had some good teams, but for a big run in there, Hoquiam just kind of walked through that league.
And this was one too, like, I don't know Joey Wayman personally. I don't think I ever watched him play either, but
I never came to one of my games?
I don't think so. I listened to you on the radio a couple of
times. This
guy. but I know him by reputation, and I've heard lots of great Joey Wayman stories. It was like
some good ones.
This was a guy who seemingly kind of just lived and breathed basketball. It was kind of his identity from when he was a young child, and he combined that with great athleticism and basketball IQ and great talent, and put a great product on the floor.
So Joey's older brother was a really good athlete, Jeff Wayman. He was prominent piece, starting point guard for the state championship Hoquiam team, and yet everybody kind of looked at Joey coming up like when he was little. Like, he's 2 years behind me, and I remember like running into him even though he was too far out of my age group to actually compete against me in a normal fashion. I think I played against him in a basketball game once when we were playing a younger age group, and he was playing up an age group to play on that team, and they just dominated our basketball team. It was that good from such a young age that everybody was like, oh, this player is going to be like the best player in Hoquiam basketball history. And you can make the argument. I mean, he was really, really good. And the reason why he only played 90 games compared to, like, when you look at Jack Adams, who I think played over 100, it was harder to get to the playoffs those years. So I'm sure that played into it a little bit as well. But he also, one of those just awful, awful, awful things, he blew out his knee his senior year in a basketball game. And it was one of those things, you just couldn't believe it, because, you know, you're all excited. Where's he going to go play after? Where's he going to decide to go? How well can he do at the next level? And he ended up going on and playing some college basketball and, you know, some smaller colleges. But the explosion, I'm not sure if that just ever came back. Like, I've talked to him a few times. He's back around in the area, and we've, you know, played some different rec league softball games and stuff against each other, and you kind of wonder, like how far could he have gone had his knee held up? And I think it was in an Aberdeen Hoquiam game actually too in his senior year. It was just a brutal thing, but I'll never forget. So I've obviously used my teammate, and you said you've heard stories. I'm assuming most of those are from me.
Probably.
Yeah. So he came in as a freshman, and this is before the league switch, and our team was really good. I was a junior, and in basketball, I was a swing player. So basically, I spent most of my time on JV, would come up, sit on the bench for varsity, just kind of watch games. And that's what I did all year. I think I played like maybe 5 minutes of garbage time when we're just killing somebody. In that year, we go to the playoffs, first game of districts. I am so happy to be there. I am on the team. I got to travel. I was like, yes, this is going to be great. I get to go to all of these games and travel with the team. And Joey picks up his third foul, I believe, in the first half. And the coach, Brian Grun at the time, looks down the bench and goes, all right, Daniel, you're in. And I was watching the band. I was like, this is a pretty good performance by the band. And he goes, Daniel. I'm like, huh? And he's like, you're in. And I was just like, you're kidding, right? Like, I have played like a total of 15 minutes all season, and I'm the first guy off the bench here? That's the plan for when Joey gets into foul trouble? That's it?
And you jumped in, and you did exactly what Joey would have done. And...
No, not that. So I did do serviceable, I will say that, but only because of the ridiculous athleticism of one of our other players on the team. So I get in, right? And the other team were playing presses a lot, and I threw a long pass down the sideline, and as soon as it left my hands, I was just like, oh no, I just threw that into the crowd. And then our 6'3" exchange student from Iceland jumps out of nowhere, catches it, one dribble lay in, and I'm like, that's an assist, right? But anyway, so after a couple more near turnovers, like I'm just coming so close to turning the ball over, coach calls a timeout, and Joey, I'm a junior, and Joey pulls me aside in this timeout. He's a freshman. His voice was a little higher pitched still when he was a freshman. He's like, Daniel, calm down. Just breathe. You got this. You can do it. And I'm just like, my heart's pounding, and I'm like breathing. I was like, I'm not sure if I can. Like, but that was something that I think a lot of people didn't realize about Joey, is because he kind of got pegged as being really cocky. He was confident, but he was a really good teammate. He will always have your back in different situations. And I found myself in different situations, especially when I was a senior and starting with him as a sophomore, where, I needed somebody to have my back and I needed somebody to be a good teammate. And he was always there. He was always a great teammate for you. And then we played baseball together too. And one time in practice, he went diving for a ball in center field and dove head first into the fence. And it just had blood pouring out of his mouth, and you're looking at metal because there was a chain link fence that was like stuck in his teeth and stuff. And, still came back and played for us after that too. And it's just like, he was ridiculously talented. Everybody knew he was one of the best athletes in Hoquiam. As a basketball player, everybody was pegging him from, 6 years old to be one of the best basketball players. And really, he lived up to all the hype. And like I said, he was a good teammate when you were on the court. And, there's other people out there that you play sports with who they can be really good, and yet they can leave you in a game or in a situation where you're like, really? I thought you had my back, or I thought you should have had my back. And some people are like that, and yet I would never say that Joey was one of those. So for me, that's almost more important than all of his accomplishments, which were ridiculous.
We learned that Joey is the second all-time leading scorer in Hoquiam boys basketball history, and he averaged 15.8 points a game, and that he was a great multi-sport athlete, and that he was a good teammate. But the highlight of those stories was your Joey voice.
If he hears about this, he's going to be mad at me. Because he was a freshman, like I said. So that was the thing. He was also really good at shutting people up. And because his voice was kind of higher pitched when he yelled like that, other teams, like kids on other teams would try and make fun of him, and then he'd go drop 30 on him. And you're just like, yeah, that's how you respond. And he would talk some trash to go along with it, which made it a lot better. Like he shut a lot of people up, and that was so much fun because people would start, they'd try and talk trash to him, and he'd just demoralize them and then let him know about it. And you're just like, yeah, maybe when you're half as good as him, you probably shouldn't be trying to make fun of him during the game. So that is our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. And trust me, there's so many more stories and good times that I had playing sports with Joey Wayman the couple of years that we were in high school together. As Justin and I've mentioned, it is the second all-time scorer with 1,423 points in 90 games for a 15.8 average. And that is just a small sample of his high school athletic career. So it is our Ole Penn Real Estate Historical Athlete of the Week, Joey Wayman.